Still in bed, and I figured that since I've already put it out there with showing myself without my mug beat and so forth, I might as well go all the way with it. I mean, here I am looking like I'm looking. So I decided I've been laying in bed watching one of my new favorite obsessions. It's a show called Unfaithful. Stories of Betrayal. It airs on the on Oprah Winfrey network. And typically it shows the beginning of a relationship, aka marriage, leading up into whatever problems the relationship encounter, all the way into the point of infidelity. And I'm noticing, this isn't my first time watching the show, by the way. I've watched it a whole bunch of times. I caught a marathon one night where I literally needed to get my frowsy behind up and get in the shower, but I mean, I literally could not move. I was frozen in place, and I bypassed the shower till about 5 a.m. just so I could catch all the episodes. I mean, it's a really, really good show. And again, I'm on here without my mug beat, no lashes, my eyebrows aren't arched, no makeup, no jewelry. Um, my hair isn't pulled together. Like, it's not a good look right now, but it is what it is. I've been wanting to do um, a video like this for a while to sound off on some issues that are near and dear to my heart, but just haven't had the time or the wherewithal to just devote to it. So today's today. Anyways, I'm noticing a common denominator on most of the stories of infidelity, and typically it has to do with neglect of some sort, be it emotional neglect, physical neglect, financial neglect. It's always stems to that. And, of course, we know there are really big contributors to the demise of a relationship, and usually it's either money, sex, or communications. Those are the three big killers of any stable or unstable, for that matter, relationship, especially if it's unstable. So today I want to talk about Mrs. CleanUp, aka the other woman, the mistress, the whore, the slut, whatever name that you've given her, especially women who have had their husband to cheat on them. They have a really, really nasty or negative disposition when it comes to the other woman. They tend to blame the other woman. They typically attack and go after the other woman. But I don't really feel that Mrs. CleanUp should take as much responsibility as she's given. There are two different types of men in this scenario, and there's either a good man who has been broken down to nothing, has been mistreated, has been emasculated. What is that the word I'm looking for? I think that's the word I may be looking for. I might need to look that up. Or there's the man who's just nasty. He's just a dog. He's gonna cheat. I mean, it doesn't matter if you are a lady in the streets, a freak in the sheets, you could be upside down on your head, giving it to him every which way. He's still gonna cheat. Like, there's that man. But typically the average man, and I'll probably look up the statistics later to support what I'm saying, but typically the average man who cheats does not cheat just because he has nothing better to do. Typically he cheats because there's something lacking. And I mean, and don't get it wrong, there are women who go through the same thing, but today I'm talking for Mrs. Cleanup, so therefore I'm going to come from the perspective of that, talking about why a man cheats. And I've noticed, I've had the friends who I've been around, and long before Steve Harvey started saying act like a woman, think like a man, like I've been thinking like a man, like for the longest of time. Like literally I've been even told by guys that I've dated, like you actually think like a man. And it helps me get along in my relationships better because of the way that I think. And it probably is because I have a really, 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 really super duper tight, close knit family where I'm extremely close to my dad. I'm a daddy's girl. And he and I actually sit and have in-depth conversations where sometimes I actually have to pull back because the conversations get so deep, and I'm like, Daddy, we might not need to talk about this. But it's because we have such a good relationship that we could really talk about anything. And then of course I grew up with 3 brothers and several guy cousins that I was really close to. And being that I had 3 brothers, they constantly had their guy friends over all the time. So I was always able to communicate with guys to find out what they thought. And one thing about my brothers, they were very clear on how men think. Like we would sit around and actually have these conversations, and they would point out girls and say, you see her, she's a person that I wouldn't screw with someone else's penis. Like they would tell me how to carry myself, and what to do and how to do, and what classified you as a hoe, and this is a person I would sleep with, but only because she's easy, but she's not anybody I would settle down with. Like they taught me that stuff early on. So anyways, back to Mrs. Cleanup. You have those women that want to call and confront, and they go after the woman, they go after Mrs. Cleanup, and it's like they don't want to take any blame for why their husband or their fiance or boyfriend cheated. And it's like, okay, first off, why are you targeting Mrs. Cleanup? Okay, yeah, you can do the whole thing of Barbara, this is Shirley, I was going through my man's pockets and I found your number, and etc., etc., and he's my man. And you could do the woman to woman thing. Everything he sleeps on, everything he walks around in, I bought it, I paid for it, and he's my man, and etc., etc. You can do all that. You can run that mistress away. But you can best believe that he's going to sleep with someone else if you don't address the issues that are in your relationship. So I want to talk to the married women or the women who are in serious relationships, and just try to get an understanding of why, let you get an understanding of why the average man cheats. You have the women who don't support their man. If you remember the character in Soul Food, where Vanessa Williams' character, she didn't support Miles. He had a passion for music, and she was just uptight. She was kind of like a prude, and she didn't want to support him. And she talked down to him, and was like all her biggest thoughts or desires was money. She wanted to go up the success ladder, and it wasn't about happiness. And what happened? He wound up sleeping with a woman who shared his passion. She was very into his dreams, and she supported him, and she pushed him, and they slept together. Now you could piggyback off the fact that she was asleep around, but at the end of the day, it's not about the other woman. It's about you and where you went wrong. And I have these friends that talk around me, and they be going all in. Child, please, that's all he want to do is have sex, and child, when he come home, I pretend like I'm asleep, and cause I'm not into that. Like I ain't all with that giving head and all of that, But if that's not your thing, if you say, okay, well, I don't give head, I don't like to give head, that's not my thing, Okay, well, there's somebody that's their thing. You know what I mean? So if you have a problem with it, then you need to get over it. Do you know what I mean? Like you need to address whatever issues that you have. If you're really not a person that likes frequent sex, and your husband likes frequent sex, then you need to acquire a taste for frequent sex. Because you know what I'm saying, somebody who I've been Mrs. Cleanup, and I don't advocate cheating, but it is what it is. I've been Mrs. Cleanup, and I've had the man to say to me, yeah, I'm not happy she's not doing this for me. I had one married man that I was dealing with that said to me, he tried to make me feel like, I mean, he was a success at it, as a matter of fact. He tried to make me feel like he walked outside of his marriage just for me. Like I was just so off the chain, and I was just so beautiful, and I was just so lovely, and I could sing so good, and all of these things. This is why I'm talking to you. She doesn't have what you have. Like, you support me. You make me feel like a man, and I do that. Like, I'm a very big supportive woman, and because my dad has taught me well, I've just listened to the things that he said and just really took those things in. I do support him, and I'll make a loser feel like a winner. I will make a 80-pound man feel like he's 280. I'm gonna make them feel like they could do anything, that they could fly, that they could just achieve anything. Type of woman that I am. But then I found out that he was cheating on me and his wife. And I'm like, really? How does this work? So, when I was talking to him, and I was like, you really didn't owe me anything, to be honest, because at the end of the day, we were in the wrong. So I can't get mad at you for being in the wrong another way. But why I was so offended was, I guess I was really upset with myself for believing that he just exclusively stepped out of his marriage just for moi. It was all about me, and it really wasn't. He was just one of them kind. It just, I mean, and he's not in a really good marriage. Like, I know his wife, like, she ain't, she got some issues, but that wasn't why he was just trying to talk to me. Like, he just will step outside of his marriage. It just is what it is. But, I just want to drop a word for these women who really have it in for Mrs. Cleanup. You got your words, and you have the things that you say about her, and just be careful. Just be careful, because the same woman you talking about probably are already sleeping with your man. And I mean, it's not funny. It's really not. But it's just those little things, like, if you hear your man say, he had a coworker and she always smells so nice. It's this perfumes that she wears just smell so nice. I'm gonna think you need to jump up and head to Perfume Mania. Because apparently he likes perfume. He likes fragrances. He likes fragrances. He wants to smell fragrance on his woman. If he says, man, wow, every time, so-and-so comes by and she bakes a pound cake, it's just so yummy. And you sitting your dumb behind up there talking about, I don't bake. Okay, keep on. She gonna be dropping them off a pound cake and a pound cake. I'm trying to help you, because the average man who says that he doesn't want to get out because he's stuck in a marriage because of this, that, and the third, typically it's a lie. If he was really that unhappy, he would leave. So, don't get caught up either way. But to married women, get yourself together. Get your stuff together. Because, that's, watching this show, I'm just seeing, this one guy was like, well, the one who he cheated with, she gave him a sponge bath, and he showed up one day and she had on a French maid uniform. His wife never did that kind of stuff, and she initiated, and the way she touched him, she just made, I was like, oh wow, so his wife ain't never do that. So this is why she drove him crazy, had him out there. So it's easy to get caught up if you don't handle your business. So to every Mrs. Cleanup with your mop bucket and your broom, it is what it is. I don't advocate it, but I could totally see why a lot of men cheat. So this is just a shout out to all you married women or engaged women. Just start watching shows like this. Start paying attention to what's going on around you. Start stepping your game up. You know what I'm saying? Because at this point, you're making it easy for the cleanup woman. All right. Mwah. Bye.